Now, I just want to apologize in advance. I didn't get to do a lot of art production for this. Like, I didn't get to take a lot of stills. It was my intention to have a lot of the behind-the-scenes footage stills from the movie in question. Kind of like how we did with the First Blood review and the 3-hour director's cut review and all that stuff. The what could have been. So, unfortunately, due to time restrictions, I didn't get to do that for this one, so there's only a couple of stills, and, you know, obviously this is because of time restraint. This is something that might occur more in the not too distant future, you know, with the Rambo First Blood Part 2 review, and it just all depends on time. So if we have enough time, we will add more pictures in the future, but, you know, till then, we gotta work with what we got. And even though I have a ton, like literally a ton of pictures, in the weight of how much a picture could be, you know, literally a ton, files and files and files, hundreds and thousands of photos. But yeah, just due to time restraint, we can't, you know, everything's in a rush. We're really behind, and we really thought it would be more important to try and keep you guys up to date and abreast, especially now with all the rumors of Rambo 5 going around, and, you know, that more special guests are signing on to come on the show. So we're just trying to meet the time restraints and the schedule restraints. And I would have loved to put more art and stills and everything into it, but I just couldn't. I just don't have enough time. You know, there's just not enough time, and I apologize deeply for that, because there was like a lot of great artwork submitted, you know, by Brent Whiteside and Wallace Lee, and Randy Manning just has an amazing collection, and I'm meeting all these new friends on social media connected to the Rambo universe, and, you know, all of them have so much great stuff. So we'll try to get some of that into RAMBOMANIA the movie. I might extend the what do you call that? The time frame for you guys to submit stuff. I'll submit it an extra week. So not this Friday, but next Friday will be the deadline for that. But yeah, there was just so much great stuff, and that part of me really wanted to add all that into this episode and the next couple of sets of episodes. But unfortunately, I can't. You know, like, I would have to postpone everything again, and I don't want to do that. You guys don't deserve that. So maybe, you know, in the future down the road, we can use all this for now axed art or unused art. And I spent so much time fucking collecting this stuff, so, you know, it's a real big kick in the teeth to me not to be able to use it. I really feel like I'm doing a disservice by not using it. Yeah, but maybe we can use that down the road. Maybe we'll have like a RAMBOMANIA-thon or something where we can use all the photos and really get into the nitty-gritty. So I don't know. Maybe when we have enough time, we'll see what happens. But like as I was saying before, everything's booked right now, and it's solid booked. It's hard to play with the format of the show right now, and it's hard to you know, incorporate stuff, because really it's like I'm really on the line of having no time to do it. Like, I'm using every spare second I got. So yeah, so I'm sorry, I apologize, and I'll try to make it up to you guys in the future. Also, as well, today we had so many things that we were going to look at in this episode. The last one, I kind of took it out because it kind of falls in place with what happens after the movie is released to cinema. So that last part, the 14th section of this of tonight's broadcast, is going to be debuted, you know, between the Rambo First Blood Part 2 movie review and the TV cut. So, you know, but, you know, that being said, we got a lot of stuff. And in fact, we're going to cram 13 episodes, or technically 14 if you count the intro as an episode in itself, into one long-ass episode. So the original intent was to have, you know, 14, well, with the intro and the discarded one that we're going to look at later on, 15 episodes, in one shot. Like, I guess, like, 3-minute episodes, or we usually class them as 3 minutes and 21 seconds per starting of episode, and it grows up to 15 minutes, or compiled into longer running multiple parts. So instead of watching or instead of going through a selection of 15 different episodes, we're going to try to do it all on one heading here tonight for you live. So, wow, it's a lot of stuff, and don't be fooled, because we got literally an avalanche of stuff coming all month, like more than you'd ever think possible, because we're dealing, in fact, with the crux, the RAMBOMANIA phenomenon itself. So, another thing is, we were going to do this over 3 months. We're going to try to do it in 1 month instead of 3. That way we can meet our deadline. Actually, the Rambo 3 season, Carmageddon, was supposed to start this month. So it will be pushed back to September, and will be from between September and October 30th, Mad Night. And then we're going to jump into Rambo 4 on Halloween, coinciding with the release of RAMBOMANIA the movie. We're going to try to speed things up, and then come back for a season 5 when we know what's going on. And it gives us time to work on other projects like supporting Rambo, Blood, and the Moss Man. So in theory, that in itself will be a big thing, because, a month time to do well over 3 months worth of episodes. You're really going to get your RAMBOMANIA fix. And, anybody who watches the show regularly, it's going to be hard to keep up. I'm just warning you now, because I'm having trouble keeping up, and I'm moving full throttle, full force ahead. So, the guests are going to be coming on, the episodes are going to be coming in. It's just going to be non-stop. Nothing is over. It's just going to be non-fucking stop. And we're dealing with, the RAMBOMANIA phenomenon itself. So we're going to look at everything and how big this thing actually exploded. So, as, kind of the catalyst as an analyzation, in a way, it's going to be the same kind of thing. RAMBOMANIA in the 80s blew up so huge. So it only makes sense that the topics we're dealing with would be so many. Because, Rambo was everywhere. Everywhere at this time in history. And also, we're going to be adding extra little things in here and there too. Different interviews with very special guests. And, like we got the Expendables special part 2 next week, which is really big. And, I found this awesome Rambo and the Force of Freedom annual kind of thing that we're going to be looking at and adding to the Force of Freedom episodes. And, just the pop culture and everything. It's going to be out of this world. It's going to be a feat in itself just to get all this stuff recorded and uploaded. So, if I do kind of not pimp out with the pictures so much, I'm sorry, but, I just want this out there. It's about time. We're also going to be talking about crossovers and other very exciting things. And the list just goes on and on. So instead of talking about it, let's just get to it. And, with that. And also, I want to throw in also, because this sequel was, one of the biggest things for Rambo history. First Blood opened the door, and is a masterpiece. It is quintessentially, one of the best war movies ever made. And this one just, it brings in the one-man army aspect, a whole new genre, and it brings in, all these different elements. And this movie, I believe, is responsible for the Rambo we know and love today. First Blood started it all, but this one sealed the deal. So let's get to it. And on that note, without sounding too chastising, Like there's a lot of haters now. Like the kids, they can't respect practical filmmaking. It's all about, oh, the fucking CGI, blah, 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 blah. This is the one that mastered it. I don't think there's a filmmaker out there today that can go back and do a film like this. And I'm saying that to everybody out there. And those kids, you want to call it cheesy, you want to call it campy, you want to call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. But if you were to get in a time machine today and go back to 1985 when this movie came out and dare slander it in any sort of way, saying, oh, this is shit, you would be hung from the fucking street corner lamppost, man. You'd get fucking lynched. Someone would knife you to death, because this movie was a revolution. Wow. It started a movement. It places in the world that were going through unjust tortures look to this character. A lot of juxtaposition started happening. It really was a beast that kind of turned on itself and fucking just went out to devour every bad guy that was out there. Everybody had this Rambo spirit. Everybody wanted to be, wanted to be Rambo. The girls wanted Rambo and the guys wanted to be Rambo. And as Julia Nixon would say herself, it's one of the few movies where the guy looks better than the girl. But all that aside, the level of professionalism, even though the movie's not perfect, it has a lot of mistakes in it. It could have been a lot better than it was. But it's timeless. It's timeless. It's a classic. And one, I should say, that should not be underestimated, Should not be underestimated. It is definitely a film that goes down in history. For the money it made, compared to the money now, I'm pretty sure it would have outsold movies like The Dark Knight. It would have outsold Twilight, for sure. Hands down, would have fucking decapitated Twilight. And all these other franchises. So this is like, this is the one that defined all those other copycats that would come later, and even the copycats we're seeing now. And this is something that's just on par with a level of greatness that is just unfathomable. How this had a culture shock and impact on the world when it was released. Incredibly crazy. This film represents like a prehistoric stage, sort of, in a way, in cinema. Because they don't make films like this anymore. And like I said before, they wouldn't know how to make a film like this anymore. Like CGI, you don't have to think about all the things that you would have to think about behind a practical effect. So, that being said, that's a pretty big feat in itself, and it looks great and it sounds great. And you kids out there, all these kids bash it, and I don't get it. And it's like, did they even watch the movie? Like, you cannot not watch that movie even 20 years later now and not love that movie. You can't. The music, it just drags you in. Stallone is fucking crazy. Amazing bad guys. Amazing sidekick. Amazing, sort of sidekick, love interest. Everything works. Even the stuff that doesn't work, a lot of mistakes people like Brent Whiteside point some out to me, like with the RPG, and one that we talked about with David Morrell, with the RPG in the helicopter. The Brent one was the RPG on the boat. But just little things like that, just, whatever you want to say. But, this movie, history doesn't lie. History does not lie. Just look it up for yourself if you don't believe me. This is a crazy, crazy, crazy movie. One for the books. And it's about time we got to it. This is just perfect. Well, sometimes history lies, but more importantly, the level of professionalism displayed in making this movie is just something that I find that Hollywood and the world over time has forgot, and more importantly, forgotten how to do, and we need that back.